Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, February 17, 2020. Join us for the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and live via streaming worldwide through UNTV News and Rescue Facebook account and UNTVweb.com. I am Harleen Delgado, sitting in for Angelo Castro III.
And here are the headlines.
The number of Filipinos who tested positive for the coronavirus on board a cruise ship in Japan has risen to 27 as preparations are underway for the evacuation and return of over 500 Filipinos on the quarantine cruise ship. Taiwan reports its first fatality of the coronavirus disease as the global death toll from the COVID-19 now stands at 1,770. Alleged kickback scheme in an airport in which Chinese nationals are promised seamless entry in the Philippines for a service fee of 10,000 pesos exposed in the Senate. Education Secretary Leonor Briones rebuffs report that 70,000 elementary students in Bicol cannot read in both English and Filipino. The education chief says it is an insult to Bicolanos. AFP Cavaliers and DNR Warriors to battle it out in the best-of-3 series of the UNTV Cup Season 8 Finals. And Team LeBron outguns Team Giannis in the NBA All-Star Game.
The number of Filipinos on board cruise ship MV Diamond Princess who have tested positive for the coronavirus disease 2019 is now 27.
All of them who tested positive for the virus are crew members of the cruise ship. The Japanese Health Ministry has earlier announced that all crew and passengers on board will be tested today, and test results will be available by the time the ship's quarantine period ends. Stephanie C. details this report.
The number of Filipinos aboard a quarantined cruise ship in Japan who tested positive for coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 has more than doubled to 27 over the weekend. The number includes 16 new cases confirmed on Saturday.
As of this morning, we received information that aside from the 11 Filipino crew members who were earlier identified, another 16 have been identified over the weekend to have been identified as COVID positive. And similar to the previous persons, everyone who's identified as positive is then brought to the hospital for better care.
The DFA also said that there were no Filipinos among the 17 new confirmed cases announced by the Japanese government on Sunday. According to a UNTV source, Filipino crews continue to serve passengers aboard the cruise ship. There were 538 Filipinos, 531 crew members, and 7 guest passengers aboard that ship. The DFA assured that the Philippine Embassy in Japan is coordinating with various stakeholders to ensure the welfare of the Filipino crew and passengers and to facilitate their safe return to the Philippines. Meanwhile, 2 planes carrying Americans from the quarantined cruise ship Diamond Princess have already arrived in the U.S. The aircraft chartered by the U.S. government left Tokyo's Haneda Airport in the early hours of Monday. There were some 400 Americans on board the ship, which has been held since 3rd February due to infections from the new coronavirus, which has hit China. All passengers were screened before being allowed on the chartered flights and are subject to a 14-day quarantine in the United States. Other evacuation flights have been arranged to repatriate residents of Israel, Hong Kong, South Korea, and Canada. On Monday, Australia announced that it would evacuate 200 of its citizens too. The Diamond Princess has been quarantined in Japan's port of Yokohama with some 3,700 people on board. The ship was held after a man who disembarked in Hong Kong was found to have the virus. It has the largest cluster of coronavirus cases outside China. The Japanese authorities on Sunday said the number of new cases on board the ship had risen by 70 to 355. The ship quarantine comes to an end on 19th of February, Wednesday. Stephanie C., UNTV News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, 99 more people from the Diamond Princess cruise ship have tested positive for COVID-19, Japanese officials say. It is the largest single-day increase of cases stemming from the ship to date. More than 500 Filipinos on board Diamond Princess cruise ship docked in Japan will undergo another quarantine period once they arrive in the Philippines. However, the repatriation plan for those Filipino citizens has yet to be finalized. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
On January 20, Diamond Princess cruise ship departed Yokohama, Japan. Its itinerary a 2-week dream cruise to China, Vietnam, Taiwan, and back to Japan. As of now, there is no clear report from Philippine authorities on the ship's route. The Department of Health considers all crew members and passengers of Diamond Princess cruise ship as patients under investigation. People on board includes more than 500 Filipinos. As of today, there are 355 cases positive for COVID-19. Of that number, 27 are Filipinos. The DOH explains the coronavirus spreads rapidly on the ship due to its confined space.
Actually, dun ho sa confined space na yon, we are considering that all of these people would be considered for quarantine once they come back.
The technical working group is planning where the Filipinos on the cruise ship will be quarantined once they arrive in the Philippines after their disembarkation. The DOH admits the plan for repatriation being laid out by the Interagency Task Force has yet to be finalized.
We have plans for this repatriation, but currently we are still on that discussion and planning stage, so we will be providing information once everything is finalized.
The Health Department is also considering the statement of Japan's health officials to let those on board Diamond Princess cruise ship finish their quarantine period until February 19 before disembarkation. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III has earlier mentioned that repatriates will need to follow a back-to-zero quarantine period once they arrive in the Philippines. They will also have to follow the quarantine protocol implemented on the repatriates from Wuhan City, China.
Pero syempre, dahil po dun sa sitwasyon na mas madami sila, contained yung kanilang space, and the other things that has to be considered, meron po tayo mga siguro maidadagdag na additional protocol or guidelines for us to be able to appropriately manage to mga galing sa cruise ship na uuwi, no, dito sa Pilipinas.
The Philippines has recorded 521 patients under investigation as of 12 p.m. today, according to the DOH. 171 of them remain isolated and admitted in health facilities. 347 have been discharged. Of the total number of PUIs in the country, 453 have tested negative for COVID-19, while 22 results have yet to be released. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A taxi driver has died from the COVID-19 coronavirus in Taiwan, marking the first death on the island and the 5th fatality outside mainland China. According to Taiwan's health minister, the deceased person was a 61-year-old man who had diabetes and hepatitis B. Taiwan has to date accumulated 20 confirmed cases. The deceased person had not traveled abroad recently and was a taxi driver whose clients were mainly from Hong Kong, Macau, and mainland China. One of his family members was also confirmed to have the virus. The pair constituted Taiwan's first local transmission cases, adding that authorities were trying to find out as soon as possible the source of contraction. It is the 5th recorded death outside mainland China. Previous victims were in the Philippines, Hong Kong, Japan, and France. The coronavirus, thought to have emerged at a wildlife market in the central Chinese province of Hubei, has killed 1,775 people in China, with latest figures showing 70,700 cases of the illness. The government is assessing, the Philippine government is assessing the travel ban imposed on Macau and Hong Kong. Malacanang emphasizes that what is important for the president is the safety of Filipinos. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte may visit Boracay, Cebu, and Bohol in the next couple of weeks. Rosalie Cos explains why.
The Interagency Task Force on the Management of Infectious Diseases regularly meets to assess the situation of the country amid the coronavirus disease 2019 threat. Among those being discussed by the government is the travel ban on China, Hong Kong, and Macau. Several overseas Filipino workers and Filipinos who are permanent residents in Hong Kong appealed to the Philippine government to lift the travel ban, just like how the government has started allowing trips to and from Taiwan recently. The task force will release its update on the issue tomorrow.
Pag-uusapan yung mga issues about Hong Kong and even Macau. So baka bukas meron ho tayong developments on that particular issue. Pero we are very much aware of all the affected Filipinos both in those special administrative regions and of course yung mga Filipino din ho natin, mga kabayan natin dito sa Pilipinas na gustong bumalik din ho sa Hong Kong and Macau.
Now we're assessing travel ban on Macau and Hong Kong. So depende. Kasi ang mahalaga sa atin yung keep presidente palagi yung safety ng mga kababayan natin. Sa Taiwan, kaya tayo nag-leave. Because pinakita ng Taiwan how strict their protocols are. Yung mga facilities nila, maayos eh. So kumbaga, ligtas yung mga kababayan natin.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte has no definite schedule yet on visiting various parts of the country to promote local tourism. President Duterte is pushing for domestic tourism to somehow alleviate the possible losses in tourism revenues.
But as mentioned during the call on the president, it has to be immediate. So it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. But we're of course lining up destinations, like Boracay, Cebu, for instance. It's also mentioned during our meeting, even Bohol, as part of the initial list of destinations the president would most probably visit within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. He's always a magnet. His presence attracts people from attending an event.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Health Department is requesting for more than 2 billion pesos to be used to address the needs of health workers and patients under investigation due to COVID-19. Since the proposal is still pending in the House of Representatives, a lawmaker suggests that the DOH may consider seeking funds from the Office of the President for now. Vincent Arboleda details why.
The Committee on Appropriations of the House of Representatives now holds the bill that seeks supplemental budget for the Department of Health. The House Bill 6177 aims to appropriate 2 billion and 60 million pesos of funds for the DOH to buy equipment needed by the agency to prevent the spread of COVID-19. More than 10 million will be used to buy surgical masks for persons under investigation and health workers good for 3 months. The fund request also includes the repatriation of an estimated 40 Filipinos, hazard pay, overtime pay, and other benefits for healthcare workers dealing with the contagion. The Department of Health reports it has supply of personal protective equipment enough for only 1 or 2 months.
So as of now, meron pa naman tayong supply ng ating mga PPEs for our health workers. Siguro mga 1 to 2 months kaya naman natin pa. No? Kaya lang kailangan na nating bumili talaga.
Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda says House Bill 6177 is one of priority bills in the lower house. As the bill is pending at the moment, Salceda says the DOH may request for a contingency fund from the President to buy medicines, surveillance equipment, and the likes for the meantime.
Kasi hindi po tayo nag-declare ng state of national health emergency na pwede sana sila kumuha doon sa calamity fund po natin.
Salceda further says the proposal may be discussed within the week. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Game 1 of the UNTV Cup Season 8 Best of 3 Final Series happens on March 1 in Paco Arena. Will the league's finals this season reveal a back-to-back champion or a rookie team champion? Bernardades reports.
Last Sunday output. That could be bad news for the AFP. Our T-Rex. Rene. Here's Rivera. Oh, he knocks that pass. He knocks that pass.
The UNTV Cup Season 8 Finals will see three-time champion AFP Cavaliers and rookie team DNR Warriors. This after the two teams dominated their respective best-of-3 semi-final matches. Sunday's doubleheader began with the Warriors and the NHA Builders, in which the Environment Hoopsters aim to finish off NHA and not hand over a chance at a do-or-die game, while the Builders hope to extend their campaign. In the end, it's the DNR Warriors who emerged as victors 82-75. Rob Lansang and Archie Gamboa were hailed as the best players of the game with combined 37 points and 16 rebounds. Alvin Vitug with 29 points and John Derek Dizon with 14 points led Coach Bennett Palad's team.
Talagang malaking bagay yung puso ng mga players at saka yung suporta ng management ng DNR. Talagang sinagalang namin.
Maganda nilaro ng DNR. Yung defense nakukuha na namin. Ang problema namin, hindi kami makakonvert.
Stay afloat. Because for someone was extremely steady today. Here's a long three. Yes! First time for Manila. Manila is on it. Point guard against point guard.
In the AFP Judiciary semi-final match, even with the absence of power forward Wilfred Casulla Jr., the Cavaliers defeated the Magis by 5 points in a neck-and-neck face-off that ended with final scores 72-67. Coach Sonny Manukat revealed that Casulla is still recovering from an injury he incurred from a motorcycle accident and will probably miss the championship games. But the Soldiers team's solid defense and effective ball movement pulled the plug on the Magis crusade this season. Forward Romeo Almirol with 17 points and 10 rebounds and guard Darwin Cordero, who made 10 points, were both best players of the game. Although Chester Tolomia, Frederick Salamat, Christopher De La Cruz, and Eric Dionisio all contributed double-digit points, the white jersey still failed to stop the AFP's rally. Judiciary suffered a poor 48% on the free throw line against the Cavaliers more than 90%.
It's a hard-fought game. Of course, I have to give credit to Judiciary. Talaga nag-prepare sila. Siguro, it's the breaks of the game sa uli. Medyo sinuwerte na lang kami.
Nagka-problema kami sa mga crucial na mga tira namin. Kung pumasok siguro yun, makukuha namin panalo. Yun lang ang naging problema. Yung mga open shots.
4 million pesos is at stake for Season 8 champion. The runner-up team will get 2 million pesos. Judiciary Magis and NHA Builders will battle for the 1 million peso third place prize. The team that will lose the battle for third settles with 500,000 pesos. The 8 other teams will win 100,000 pesos. All cash prize will be donated to the team's chosen beneficiaries. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Welcome back to Y News. Senator Risa Hontiveros exposed today a scheme happening at Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1. The alleged transactions involve immigration and airport officers, says the lady senator. The Bureau of Immigration for its part says it will launch a full-blown investigation on the scheme. This report details why.
Please wait here.
In a Senate hearing this morning, Senator Hontiveros presented a surveillance video which came from an informant. The video showed apparent special treatment to some Chinese nationals who had allegedly paid for their seamless entry to the Philippines.
Sabihin mo pa, huwag mo sila kaya kahapon, naglagay ng social ko, huwag kasi mapahamak rin. Mas maganda rin kaya pwede naman sabi dito kami na maglagay. Mas safe sa ating lahat.
According to Senator Hontiveros, the informant said that each Chinese national pays a 10,000 peso service fee as payout, which they coded pastillas. These payouts are paid to illegal tour operators, which are being distributed to their cohorts at the airport. 2,000 pesos allegedly goes to immigration and airport officers. The senator adds kickbacks of involved higher-ups may reach up to 1 billion pesos. pesos. The senator estimates 2,000 Chinese workers enter the country daily. Most of them are POGO workers who enter the country using tourist visas.
So nilalagay noon sa bond paper at nirorolyo na parang pastillas. Ito ngayon, nasa envelope na.
Bureau of Immigration officials, however, deny any knowledge about the scheme.
This is the first time I saw this. We instilled reforms and took some officers away from the airports. They were reassigned. Some of them were charged. And we installed measures to combat corruption and these kinds of activities.
But Senator Hontiveros is not convinced with this explanation.
Well, una dahil hindi talaga kapani-paniwala na hindi alam ng BI officials itong buong pastillas operation na to, itong pagpapapasok ng mga Chinese nationals na karamihay POGO workers in consideration of a service fee of 10,000 pesos.
If proven true, immigration officers may face charges for violating Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. The Bureau of Immigration will conduct a full-blown investigation to identify those who are possibly part of such illegal transactions, according to BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval. The Department of Justice, for its part, expresses support and vows to closely monitor the investigation. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines. Police officers included on the president's drug watch list have undergone tests. Some of them failed to show up for the polygraph test, while more than 300 of them test negative for illegal drugs. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
The Philippine National Police confirms that more than 300 alleged narco caps included on the president's narco list have undergone drug test and polygraph test. Of those police officers, 310 tested negative for illegal drugs, while 47 were absent when the tests were conducted.
Immediately after I spoke to them, nagkaroon ng drug test. But incidentally, to those who were present, negative ang results.
The PNP chief refused to divulge who among the cops passed the polygraph test.
Sa amin na lang yun. Because remember, polygraph has no probative value. It is just an aid for investigation.
Of the alleged narco cops, 15 have availed the optional retirement, 43 have gone AWOL, and 1 already died. General Gamboa also clarifies that those who availed optional retirement will not be off the hook.
We will still evaluate them whether they should remain in the watch list or not. No, so kung meron pa ring information, and of course they cannot defend themselves because wala sila sa amin, lalo na yung 43, then they will still remain at the watch list. No, and will be pursued by the PNP separately.
Adjudication in the region started last Thursday, while the National Adjudication Board met this afternoon. Meanwhile, the chief PNP refuses to give any statement regarding Police Lieutenant Colonel Jovi Espinido. After the statement given by presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo last Friday that the president was not convinced that Espinido is included on the drug watch list. He says it is probably part of a propaganda. General Gamboa has had a word with Vice President Leni Robredo on her comment that the Philippine National Police protects those included on the president's drug watch list.
Wrong statement cause no basis. I-adjudicate pa nga namin why would you say we're protecting them? Had we intended to protect them, bakit namin nilabas si 357?
Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Oil companies will implement oil price adjustments starting tomorrow. Effective on Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the morning, gasoline prices of Shell and Sea Oil will be up by 35 centavos per liter, while kerosene and diesel prices will both be reduced by 10 centavos per liter. Petrogas will have similar price adjustments for gasoline and diesel, also affected by Tuesday. Meanwhile, on Wednesday at 12:01 in the morning, Clean Fuel will adjust their gasoline and diesel prices by 35 centavos per liter and 10 centavos per liter, respectively.
And in other news, the scheduled road closure in portions of EDSA Balintawak at the weekend was postponed. The road closure was supposed to give way to the construction of Skyway Stage 3 project. Joanne Nano tells us why.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA made an announcement last week that 2 lanes of EDSA Balintawak would be closed to motorists beginning Sunday, and 1 lane of EDSA northbound from A. Bonifacio to the North Luzon Expressway should have been closed since Saturday. But according to MMDA EDSA Traffic Chief Edison Bongnebriha, the contractor's equipment and manpower were not yet prepared. But at around 9 this morning, EDSA Balintawak experienced heavy traffic buildup. The Skyway Stage 3 contractor set up some barricades without advising the MMDA.
We were really thinking that they will start on weekend based sa usapan. However, ito pala pace by pace din. So they're trying to put up the crane. Ina-assemble nila yung crane ngayon. And then nabigla kami kaninang umaga, biglang nagsarado ng 2 lanes. Tingnan namin, wala namang gagawa pa. Hindi pa naman nila siniset up.
The contractor has yet to announce when the road closure on portions of EDSA Balintawak will be implemented. The MMD advises motorists to expect heavy traffic in the area once the road closure pushes through.
Tanan natin, naramdaman na natin yung epekto nito kaninang umaga, no? Na wala pa nagtatrabaho, naka-apekto na. Ang laki ng clog na dinulot niyan, yung traffic na dinulot niyan coming from the north. No, so ang sa amin na lang, please anticipate that this will be happening.
The MMDA is also mulling over banning motorcycle taxis on EDSA and other major thoroughfares. This is because of the number of accidents that involve motorcycles that usually happen on major roads. The MMDA is considering to divert motorcycle taxis to inner roads where there is a small chance to meet road accidents. The MMDA explains this is still a part of the study on the pilot test run on motorcycle taxis. Results of the pilot test run will determine if the operation of bikes for hire will be legalized or not. Joanaro, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, the second round of the government's nationwide clearing operations began today. The Interior Department warns barangay captains they may face charges should they neglect their duties in the broader road clearing operations. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
All roads in the country are now included in the nationwide clearing operations project of the Department of the Interior and Local Government. The project will last for 75 days or 2.5 months. DILG Secretary Eduardo Año says that barangay captains will carry the burden this time because the project includes tertiary or inner roads. The official adds DILG, governors, and mayors will join forces to monitor if barangay captains will implement the clearing of roadways in their respective areas from obstructions such as vehicles and structures. The secretary says they can immediately suspend barangay captains who will neglect their duties.
May mayors na kapartido niya yung barangay captain, hindi niya gagawa ng aksyon. Tapos, ang bibirahin lang niya na barangay captain, yung kalaban niya sa politiko. So, we will intervene on that.
The department has also tasked local officials to create a route for tricycles which will now be prohibited to traverse highways. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, Secretary Leonor Briones says the report on 70,000 non-readers in Bicol region is an insult to Bicolanos. Rosalie Cos reports why.
The Department of Education explains the figure of 70,000 elementary students was raw data. It was a local pretest result of the Philippine Informal Reading Inventory or PhilIRI, which was conducted to determine interventions needed by learners. DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones emphasizes that precise words must be used and proper context must be put when interpreting and reporting numbers. Secretary Briones explains there are many factors to consider to gauge the level of comprehension and level of understanding of school children in different regions.
Tinawagan ko kanina ang regional director sa Bicol. Ang sabi niya, less than 5% lang. Hindi naman ganon kadami. Sinabi ko na nga kanina, medyo insulto yan sa mga taga Bicol.
DepEd plans to release an accurate report after their validation, especially that the annual study is conducted in all regions. The Secretary further says that currently, the Education Department has a program to enhance reading literacy in the country.
Kung may iba't ibang mga karakteristik, iba't ibang strategies, napakalaki ng papel ng teacher dito. Talagang crucial yung level ng teaching. Kaya ang competencies ng teacher atin tinitingnan.
The official further clarifies that PhilIRI is an assessment tool of DepEd to determine whether the reading proficiency of a student is appropriate to their grade. It does not mean they do not know how to read. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
While many Batangas residents have returned home after the Taal volcano's activity subsided, there are still some who remain in evacuation centers with no house to return nor a source of income. Meanwhile, UNTV News and Rescue's relief operations in Agoncillo town continue. Jun Soriao tells us why.
This is what the Taal volcano crater looks like after PHIVOLCS lowered the volcano status to alert level 2. Several residents of the volcano island have set up temporary shelters, saying that they still depend on the island and the lake for their livelihood. They come here in the morning and return to the evacuation center in the afternoon. But others prefer to spend the night on the island despite the authorities' continuous warning that threats of volcanic eruption remain.
Ay ngayon, namamanti-manti nga kami at walang alagang kuwan. Walang alagang isda. Yun yung nangyari. Nung 14, tumawid kami dito. Tapos yun, padalawang gabi-gabi. Ngayon, mamaya naman pauwi na kami.
Meanwhile, residents on the mainland have been returning to their homes. They caught tilapia, which they cook and shared.
Sinigang sa kamatis, kamyas.
But Felix Alilio and his family will need to spend more days in the evacuation center. Their house was severely damaged after the eruption and needs total renovation. The Alilio family is just among the many who have the same situation. UNTV News and Rescue continues to address the needs of residents in Agoncillo town who are badly affected by the Taal volcano's eruption.
Tunay nga pala yung tulong muna bago balita.
Paano niyo nasabi?
So nakita ko na po yung ating pagkikita, saka yung mga ayuda pong ibinibigay niyo sa amin, na napakaling bagay po. Sa tulad po namin ngayong wala pang trabaho at wala pang pinagkikitaan.
Jun Soriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Agoncillo, Batangas.
Y News continues. 5 out of the 7 suspects who set fire to the balloons of a vendor in Manila City surrendered to Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso today. The video of the incident went viral on social media this weekend. Mayor Isko presented the 5 suspects together with their parents. One suspect, identified as Dranreb, is 18 years old, while the 4 others are minors ranging from 15 to 16 years of age. The other 2 suspects who have not surrendered were identified as Ivan Matimatico and alias Axel. Dranreb may face charges of serious physical injuries depending on the injury of the victim, identified as Mang Oliver. Mayor Isko said the city government will extend assistance to Mang Oliver. The balloon vendor is confined in Mandaluyong City Medical Center after sustaining second-degree burns. Meanwhile, Senator Grace Poe has decided to push through with the Senate's own hearing on the media network's franchise application. This after filing a resolution calling for the review of franchise compliance of ABS-CBN Corporation. Harleen Delgado explains why.
The House of Representatives has yet to act on 11 pending bills relative to the ABS-CBN's franchise renewal application. According to Senator Grace Poe, she respects the mandate of the House of Representatives, but the Senate needs to perform its own mandate as well, which is to hear the franchise before it expires. Senator Poe chairs the Senate Committee on Public Services that will hear the franchise bill.
Tagpalit na yung isip ko Sa tingin ko, didinigin na natin mismo ang prangkisa. Pero alam naman natin na pagdating sa mga ibang bagay, lalong-lalo na pag ito'y kailangan ng maipasa, katulad ng budget, katulad ng buwis or taxes, simultaneous naman ang pagdinig.
The lady senator says they will shed light on the allegation of franchise violations of the network at the hearing set on February 27. The senator clarifies, however, they cannot release a committee report until the lower house transmits its own version of the franchise bill. That is why the lawmaker is hopeful the lower chamber will hear the application soon.
So kung hindi man mapasa yan sa mababang kapulungan, at least dito sa Senado, na isiwalat namin ang aming pag-unawa dito sa issue na ito.
The senator also emphasized that the move is not only for the ABS-CBN franchise, but for the legislature to express its right to grant and revoke franchises. Meanwhile, Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon filed a joint resolution that seeks to extend the network's franchise until 2022. According to the senator, should the House concur with the resolution, this would give enough time for lawmakers to review ABS-CBN's application for franchise renewal. Jorlene Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte signs an executive order that will impose price regulation on essential drugs and medicines. Through Executive Order Number 104, the government will regulate the prices of selected drugs most commonly prescribed to patients with ailments such as diabetes and high blood pressure. The Department of Health and the Department of Trade and Industry are directed to convene and review the drugs and medicines, including in the maximum retail price and maximum wholesale price lists. And for the news abroad, here's RL Kamiya live from Takatsuka, Japan. RL, good evening.
Good evening, William. An antiviral that has shown efficacy in treating the novel coronavirus was approved for marketing, the Taito government in Tuzheng province announced Sunday. Favilavir, formerly known as Fapilavir, is the first anti-novel coronavirus drug that has been approved for marketing by the National Medical Products Administration since the outbreak. Developed by Tuzheng Hisun Pharmaceutical Company, the drug is expected to play an important role in preventing and treating the epidemic, the government said on its official WeChat account. Large parts of Britain are facing days of disruption after one of the worst winter storms of recent times triggered an unprecedented number of flood warnings and left thousands of homes underwater. Jovic Bermas will tell us why.
Major incidents were declared in South Wales and parts of England as Storm Dennis brought heavy rain and strong winds to much of the country. A man died after being pulled from a swollen river in the Swansea Valley, although police said the incident was not directly linked to the weather. Dyfed Powys police said the man was seen entering the river tower and was rescued downstream but could not be saved by paramedics at the scene. The North Atlantic storm, described as a bomb cyclone, triggered nearly 600 flood warnings and alerts in England alone on Sunday, more than any other day on record, with dozens more in place across Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. In South Wales, police declared a major incident after more than a month's rain fell in 48 hours, leading to multiple landslides and people being trapped in their homes. The local MP Alex Davis-Jones said she had been truly heartbroken to see the damage caused to more than 1,000 homes in the area. The town center of Pontypridd was underwater, with surrounding towns and villages told by the Met Office they could be cut off perhaps for several days because of the floods. Some 600 people were evacuated and placed in emergency accommodation overnight on Saturday. Hundreds of flights were cancelled and roads and railways were submerged with water. Storm Dennis has hit Britain barely a week after Storm Kira disrupted transport, flooded homes in northern England, and left thousands without electricity. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
Images out of the northern region of Antarctica shown a landscape nearly devoid of ice and snow after record-setting temperatures. Meanwhile, a French ski resort has angered ecologists by using a helicopter to move snow from higher up the mountains after exceptionally mild weather left its slopes bare. Nina Bascon details why.
In France, a French ski resort has used helicopters to deliver snow after mild weather dried out its slopes, threatening it with closure. The Luchon Superbannière resort in the Pyrenees arranged for around 50 tons of snow to be dropped on its slopes. Temperatures have risen above 10 degrees Celsius across the Pyrenees this week, leaving ski slopes devoid of snow. Milder weather and a lack of snow during winter are trends that meteorologists have linked to climate change. The operation has angered French ecologists. Bastien Ho, the Secretary of Europe Ecology Le Vert Party, said the snow transfer operation was evidence of an upside-down world. Herve Bonau, the director of the local department council, admitted it was not very ecological, but added, "It's really exceptional and we won't be doing it again. This time, we didn't have a choice." Many other ski resorts in the Pyrenees Mountains are facing an uncertain future, as low snowfall levels result in fewer visitors. This month, the ski resort of Les Mortis was forced to temporarily close down its ski runs in mid-season, impacting the local economy. Meanwhile, surprising images of Antarctica without snow emerged from Chile, as the southern tip of the South American country near Antarctica experiences unusually high temperatures amid concern for global warming. The temperatures in the southernmost city of Punta Arenas coincide with reports from an Argentine Antarctic research base that record hot temperatures had been documented there. Researchers at Escudero Base, a Chilean base located in the Antarctic, said the lack of snow is impressive and blamed the unusually high temperatures on global warming. Scientists believe global warming has caused so much melting at the South Pole that the giant ice sheet is now on course to disintegrate. This would see an eventual global sea level rise of 10 feet over centuries. A WMO committee is verifying whether recent temperatures logged in Antarctica are new records for the continent. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the stories from around the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, RL Kamiya, reporting live from Takatsuka, Japan.
The NBA's All-Star Game returned to Chicago for the first time in 32 years as Team LeBron defeated Team Giannis 157-155 at the United Center. Los Angeles Clippers star Kawhi Leonard took home the NBA All-Star MVP award, which the league officially named after Kobe Bryant. Victor Cosade details why.
Los Angeles Clippers star Kawhi Leonard is the first recipient of the Kia National Basketball Association's All-Star Game Kobe Bryant Most Valuable Player Award, which the league officially named after the late Bryant. Leonard scored a game-high 30 points and 7 rebounds to help Team LeBron, led by Lakers star LeBron James, beat Team Giannis 157-155 in the 69th NBA All-Star Game in Chicago. On Saturday, the league's commissioner, Adam Silver, announced that the league's All-Star Game Most Valuable Player Award has been permanently named for Bryant.
You know, able to put that trophy in my room, in my trophy room, and just be able to see, you know, Kobe name on there, it just means a lot to me. He's a big inspiration in my life. You know, he did a lot for me.
The team with the most points after 3 quarters needed to score 24 points to win, while the trailing team had to score 24 plus the number of points it was down.
I didn't know what to expect because it was a new format, new year. We didn't know, none of us knew what to expect. But throughout the whole fourth quarter and at the end of the game, everybody was like, that was pretty damn fun. that was fun.
A packed United Center fell silent for 8 seconds before tip-off as about 21,000 fans joined hands to pay their respects to global sports icon Kobe Bryant. With the win, Team LeBron earned $400,000 for their nominated charity, Chicago Scholars, while Team Giannis earned $100,000 for after-school matters. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue.
U.S. singer Adam Lambert has joined Queen to reprise the band's legendary 1985 Live Aid set for 75,000 people at a huge benefit concert in Sydney. Meanwhile, Elton John was forced to cut short a concert in New Zealand after falling ill with walking pneumonia. Stephanie C. has the story.
A visibly upset Elton John has been forced to cut short a concert in New Zealand after falling ill with walking pneumonia. The singer, who is continuing his multi-year farewell tour, lost his voice midway through his set at Auckland's Mount Smart Stadium on Sunday. Crowds cheered as he appeared to weep while leaned on his piano, shaking his head before leaving the stage. Walking pneumonia, also called atypical pneumonia, is a type of lung infection caused by bacteria or viruses. John was checked by a medic halfway through the show and despite his illness was able to perform classics such as Candle in the Wind and All the Girls Love Alice. Shortly after leaving the stage, Elton apologized to his fans in an emotional Instagram post. He is scheduled to play 2 more concerts in Auckland on February 25 and February 27. Meanwhile, Queen, fronted by Adam Lambert, heated up the bushfire benefit concert, Firefight Australia, in Sydney on Sunday, with the band reprising their 1985 Live Aid set. Queen's Brian May returned to the stage for a show-stopping finale, featuring John Farnham's You're the Voice, sung by Farnham, Olivia Newton-John, and Indigenous singer Mitch Tambo, who performed in the Gamilaroi language. Adding to the lineup, Michael Bublé performed from his show in Melbourne, as artists KD Lang and Icehouse performed for more than 70,000 people in Sydney as the concert went into the night. According to organizers, the benefit concert raised 9.5 million Australian dollars, with more donations expected in the coming days. Australia battled hundreds of blazes since September in an unusually prolonged summer wildfire season that has razed nearly 12 million hectares of tinder-dry bushland, killing 33 people and an estimated 1 billion native animals. Stephanie C., UNTV News and Rescue.
Those are the reasons behind the news. And before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. I am Herlene Delgado.
And I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
We have plans for this repatriation, but currently we are still on that discussion and planning stage, so we will be providing information once everything is finalized.
So as of now, meron pa naman tayong supply ng ating mga PPEs for our health workers. Siguro mga 1 to 2 months kaya naman natin pa, no? Kaya lang kailangan na nating bumili talaga.
So nilalagay noon sa bond paper at nirorolyo na parang pastillas. Ito ngayon, nasa envelope na.
Tinawagan ko kanina ang regional director sa Bicol. Ang sabi niya, less than 5% lang. Hindi naman ganon kadami. Sinabi ko na nga kanina, medyo insulto yan sa mga taga Bicol.
Naunawaan ko ang damdamin ninyo, mga netizen, no? Talagang nakapanggigigil. O wag nyo naman pagbuhatan ng kamay. O kasi hindi naman maitatama ang isang mali sa paggawa pa ng isang mali. O wag natin ilalagay sa ating kamay yung hustisyang ninanais natin para kay Oliver.